you are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business, tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Christine Campbell-Rappin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. Welcome back, everybody. I think that being on LinkedIn is non-negotiable if you are a B2B business owner looking for clients. It is a platform where the highest net worth per member exists of all the social platforms out there, and yet so many people spend hours, years, decades on this platform without really using it effectively. So when I met their guest today in a breakout room in a networking space, and I heard what she was all about and how effective she was, I'm like, you've got to come play on my platform, because if we can gift you this episode to help you make money on LinkedIn and own your voice, this is going to be a very worthwhile conversation. So sit down, my friends. We're going to take you into the deep end. So give a very warm welcome to our guest today. This is Natasha Welstra. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Christine. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I was super impressed with what you were doing, building a business around helping people actually make money on this platform. Because guys, that was the goal in case we sort of got sidetracked. And so I want to start with the very beginning, which is, how do you see LinkedIn? And why is it a platform that we should prioritize if we're looking for business growth, clients, momentum, and not do it badly, but do it really, really well? Start at the beginning.
Sure. So, I think LinkedIn it might be like the only true actual social media platform where you're there to be social. The way I see it is that it's a relationship building platform that happens to have content, right? It's not a place where you're just putting content out there and being on this hamster wheel and stuff. Like, you're there to actually connect with people. Like, what a concept, right?
What a concept. Guys, and so if you're thinking in LinkedIn, you just dive bomb posting like you do on the other platforms. Hello, stop, back up. Just listen to what she said. This is the platform for two-way conversation or multi-directional relationship building, because, oh my God, that's such a good place to start. But so why don't we do that on LinkedIn?
Well, I think it's what we have been trained to think sales is supposed to be. Like this cold outreach, automated messages, the pitch slaps, right? We think that this is how we do sales because for the last few decades, and this is obviously before AI changed the game even more with even more, well, that's a whole other topic there, but
more noise than ever before.
Yeah. We've been trying to automate sales and make it easier for the seller and not thinking about how it impacts the buyer, right? So it's always about like, how can we do more, right? It's a numbers game, as they say. When in fact it's not, it's a quality game. It's all about having and increasing the quality of conversations that you're having. And so I think though, because of what we think we're supposed to be doing, the cold calling, that sort of stuff, I mean, obviously that's sort of died out, as we all know cold calling is a little bit dead at this point, but we just don't know that it's possible to actually just build relationships on there. Like, the way I like to think about it, how do you build relationships in real life, right? We're just trying to find the digital version of that on LinkedIn. And we've just also never done it this way. We're the first generation to be building relationships this way. So of course it's going to be uncomfortable and awkward. You know what I mean? But it's totally possible, and to do it in a way that feels good and authentic. It's not performative, right? It's not trying to be someone you think you need to be. It's being you.
I love how elegantly simple this is. And I think it is so important what you said, that we hold for just a second here. It's, guys, if you are in the business to grow clients, hello, your number one responsibility is to find your next client. You've got to recognize that in your gain, in your focus, in your crazy spin of, I want to make it easy for me, that you really need to think about how does it feel on the other side, and how do we support what the other side experiences? And so if you can get your head around, which might be wild for some of you, that LinkedIn is a relationship building conversation and it is a platform designed and rewards you for it, where do we actually start?
That's a really great question. So I know this might sound obvious. Excuse me. We just put our son into daycare, so I've been getting all the germs. I've been might cough a little bit. Excuse me. So sort of an obvious starting point, but your profile, it's very important that it represents who you are today, right? Not some buttoned up corporate version of you or an AI generated version of you. It should feel like you, and I should be able to hear your voice when I go to your profile, because if it doesn't feel like you and represent you in that way, it's going to be really hard to do anything else on there. So like, if you're not proud of your profile, how are you going to have conversations? How are you going to create content? And so it's not just for other people who are going to come check out your page, but for you to give you the confidence to feel like, hey, yeah, this is me, guys, right? Come get to know me. That's what we want to be starting with, honestly. And make sure, like, when we think about going to a networking event or conference, it's multidimensional, right? Because you can read the room, you can feel the vibes, people's energies, right? LinkedIn being one-dimensional, it's hard to do that, but there's ways to bring more of your essence to your presence on LinkedIn. And that's what we're trying to do, is like those quirky things you do, the personality that separates you from everybody else, like that's what you want to show,
100%, guys. I just heard the laser across the bow. If you're not proud of your LinkedIn profile, what the heck?
Exactly.
Like, let's start with that. And I think all of us are now going, I might need to go Google this. Like, and this might be the point, because you said it needs to be who you are today. It needs to avoid that robotic jargon. LinkedIn's heritage, for many of us, perceive it to still be, and it is an effective platform to recruit or to be in the job search function, but it is so much more than that. And so you're right. LinkedIn has done a real change, I would say, in the last 3 years in an accelerated way to bring your personality to it. How you can, use your own words in different ways that engage interaction, beyond just the reading elements. There's visual elements, there's clickable elements, there's that multifaceted way, because unlike, that one-dimensional space that lives in LinkedIn, we need that to be able to say, are these my people? So
exactly. I love that.
Guys, are you proud? And if not, take a fresh look and maybe reach out to Natasha to say, help. Does this even look like somebody you would want to go have a coffee with? And that's a good tell. Mm-hmm. Is this somebody I'm curious about? And if the obvious answer isn't yes.
Yeah. Another test I have for that is, I'm sure you've heard of the NPS score, the Net Promoter Score.
Yes.
I like to think of like a personal Net Promoter Score. So how referable are you? Right? And rate yourself -10 and +10. And if you're in that lower side, you probably need to do some work, because if you don't even feel like you want to refer yourself, how would other people do that? Because again, we're not on there just to prospect. We're there to build our network and connect with people and find, your referral partnerships, your tribe. And if they go to your profile and it's not easy to refer you, they're not going to refer you.
They're not going to refer you. Again, you have to make it easy. And this goes back to that first point that you said that I thought was so profound. It has to be something that showcases a human, and a human that is someone that we make it easy to do business with. So you really think about the user experience. So that's your next potential collaborative partner. It could be the next person who brings you on as a contractor or as an employee or as somebody they hire. How would you rate your very first impression? And so if this is a relationship building platform, and I think this is a mystery for some people, but what types of content shine best on this platform right now?
The best hack I have for content, and I don't want to call it a framework even, because it's so simple. Look at your calendar. What problems did you solve on your call with your client yesterday? What questions were asked by the prospect you spoke to last week? What did you do a year ago at that event when you're at this other position, right? Like your experience, real lived, honest experience, that's what people are craving right now, because there's so much AI slop out there and anybody can write the how-to post, which AI killed that one, right? So it's how I did
kill that one.
So how I did something. Right? Your experience is what matters. That's what makes all the difference in having the content that's actually engaging, that people will pay attention to, because nobody else can do that except for you, because you lived it, right? AI can't come up with that. And so actually a filter I always like to use now too when it comes to content is, could AI have written this? Because if yes, that means your competitor could have, and it means my 7-year-old nephew could have, right? And so what you want to do is add story, and that's your experience. It's your expertise.
We've been saying this for a lot of years, and it's so true. And I want this massive megaphone on it. You get hired for your experience. You get hired for your opinion. You get hired for your perspective. And I think one of the easiest, again, I would say use the word tips, to have greater impact is simply make sure your lens is filtered through whatever it is that you're putting on there. And there's a lot of debate going on LinkedIn right now about, do personal posts belong on this platform? Because people seem to have an opinion, very divergent ends of the spectrum on it, of whether it's appropriate and whether it's necessary. And I said, the simplest truth, people do business with people. People want to see the person behind it. They need to see the evidence. They need to see the filter. They need to see the lived experience, because it does give you a whole category of one experience that right now, with so much AI slop out there, it's hard to fake that. And the real life moments, not the AI generated one, but the real life moments of, that's my real hairstyle, the real amount of hair I have. It's really me in that outfit in that moment. And they're candid. It's like, it's really old school that's coming back, and I cannot applaud it enough.
Exactly. And adding on to the personal posts, that's how you get people to like you. And that's the only reason why they're going to even care about your experience or your expertise, right? They're not going to care about your point of view if they don't like you. So finding that balance as well of putting out that personal content that's still relevant to your audience, tying it back to them, of course, but you don't want to just share stories for the sake of sharing stories, right? But it's so important, because why are people working with you? Because of you.
So I love this tip. Take your calendar. What were the things, the battles, the wins, the challenges, the adversity that you lived in the last 7 days that can really create fuel that boosts your visibility? And I think it's really important, if you state that this is a relationship building platform, your content should be curated to have a dialogue. Mm-hmm. To invite opinion. And that's going to be, again, two ends of the spectrum. You might not love all opinions shared. And that's what I always find fascinating on LinkedIn. I'm like, that's a public comment. That's career suicide. Sometimes I'm watching them. I'm like, wow. Well, evidence in one place is evidence somewhere else. So for you right now, there's a debate about frequency and style and things like that. Do you think it really matters?
How often to post?
How often to post, the style of post, whether it's video, carousel, things like that. Because if we go back to relationships, does it matter, or what's your take on that?
Couple points on this. One, unlike Meta, where posts die in 24 hours, basically, on LinkedIn, they live longer if the post is quality post, right? And so I would rather you post less frequently and higher quality, and then use those other days to have conversations, right? Because a successful LinkedIn strategy is both content and conversations. But obviously we're all running businesses and doing life, and so we don't have all the time in the world to be spending on LinkedIn. So limit content if that works better for your life, and then make sure that you're engaging in the DMs and the comments, right? So frequency wise, like, for the most part, and it's something to think about too, because a lot of us who are active on LinkedIn, we think that there's so much going on here and everyone's creating content all the time. But in reality, right, there's 1.3 billion people on LinkedIn. Only around 1.5% are actually creating any original content. So when you think about that in regards to your network, so you have 800 connections or followers, that means you're in the 1% of everyone in there that's creating content. So most people in your audience, they're not, but they're going to see your content because no one else is really seeing much content. You know what I mean? So you, by creating 1 or 2 times a week, even, like, you'll still be in people's feed and still be in top of mind, which is kind of the point of that. So that's my take on frequency. Like, I think it's more about quality and making sure you're doing the other things that are just as important on LinkedIn. And then when it comes to other types of content, it's nice to have variation, just for your audience, for people who learn and consume content differently. I think video is pretty powerful as well, just because of AI and there's so much content out there. So being able to speak to your expertise, right, and connect with people in a way that you just can't do via text, I think that's also important. Is it absolutely necessary? No. But I do think it's going to help you connect more with your audience for sure. And it's frustrating, I think, for a lot of people because video doesn't do as well on LinkedIn, impression-wise and all that sort of stuff. But I can say anytime I do a video, I have really great conversations from it. And that's the whole point of everything I'm doing on LinkedIn. Is
beware what you're chasing on the metrics, yes. Because if it's effective in a smaller reach, but highly targeted, and our goal is the right conversations that move something forward, something that's important and priority, guys, chase the right metric.
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing is I'm on LinkedIn to get off LinkedIn, right? Like that is the point of being on LinkedIn and have conversations.
And I think that this is really important. I love everything about it, which is why I said I would love to have you come have this conversation on our platform. Okay, so this is, if somebody in AI could write it, don't post it. If you can do fewer that are more effective, you'll win. And if you can balance, the whole point of being on LinkedIn is to get into conversations that happen outside the platform, whether they're in real life or digitally or, in some format. Don't get lost in the tech. Create the win. And I think that's so good. So if we know that that's good guidance, adopt it for bigger outcomes. What are some of the mistakes that people make on LinkedIn that we should avoid?
Outsourcing it. I think everybody's still trying to shortcut building relationships. I'm sorry to say, it's really not that. I'll put it out there. I think your personal brand is a shortcut to building relationships. You showing up, creating content, getting into the DMs, and even commenting, like it doesn't have to be this big undertaking, but that is a way to build relationships at scale because you're top of mind, you're constantly building trust. Like every single post is a trust deposit. Every single comment is a trust deposit, right? And so if you're going to outsource commenting just because you want to get more visibility, what's the goal of that? Because now it's somebody else speaking on your behalf and you're not building a relationship that way. In fact, it's doing the opposite. If I see that it's AI or their VA or someone else, like it's pretty obvious to me.
It's so right? Off-putting. It really is. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I have declined being on my podcast because this podcast was designed for relationship building. It was designed for me to find great, talented people my clients should hire. And when I get outsourced by an agency or I get outsourced by the VA and the person I reached out onto LinkedIn and said, this is what I'm interested in. And they're like, great, we'll connect. And they do nothing with it. Within a month, they're declined. I'm like, this is not the game. Wow. I am not interested in this piece. And I agree with this. Do not outsource your biggest way to find your people. And I can think personally, like I've always said this for years, there's nothing more horrifying for me in my mental game that said, if I outsource this and somebody said we had this amazing conversation and I'm like, I wasn't there. I mean, I have a memory problem and I don't remember all the details. But if I literally was not there, I'm so incongruent with my integrity, it just never flies. And so people are like, but here's the efficiency and here's the gain. And I'm like, I'm not for the game. I'm for great relationships. I will always, have a very clear line on access and priority in that. So I love that you said our biggest mistake is not stepping into what it could be, which is your human opportunity to really be connected at a human level, because it's getting harder and harder to do that. And if you choose that pathway, I will tell you, it's also not very crowded.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I want to ask you right now, you've created this great success, and I love that you're blazing this trail on this path, and as a business, helping other people build successful relationships on LinkedIn. What's working right now in your business to create momentum, to create that distinction? What do you think is the biggest asset that you have right now to win predictably?
I think most people go on LinkedIn, they've got their nice, beautiful list of their ICP of who they're trying to go after, the ideal client profile, right? And so they go there, they're connecting with all these people and then trying to cold outreach, basically. And yes, half of the game, I hate to call it a game, but half of what you want to do on LinkedIn is meet new people, of course. Mm-hmm. But the other half of it, the part that actually is rewarding and gives you purpose, is to nurture your current network, right? People who already know, love, and trust you, or areas communities you're part of that you've recently joined. It's bringing that to LinkedIn where you are also active, right? And deepening those relationships. So for me, it's all about bridging the online to offline world. That's what makes this so easy, because there's already established trust because we're part of the same group. Mm-hmm. And it could even be like Slack channels. There's a group for everything these days, right? And so find where your people are hanging out and connect with them on LinkedIn. As long as you're doing the right thing, your profile's optimized, your content's speaking to your expertise and your experience, right? So social proof, that sort of thing. And then you're connecting with them, and then start conversations without an ulterior motive to pitch them, like be of service.
Yeah.
And it works really well. It's like so disarming to people because they're not expecting that you just want to like connect with them. You know what I mean? And that's how my approach, like I'm genuinely, I'll be honest, I went to an event a couple of weeks ago, and this person came up to me, she's like, you are the most authentic person I've ever met online, offline. Like you are the same person. I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. And I get that comment a lot too. They're like, wow, this is really you. And I'm like,
who else do you want me to be? Yeah, I mean, that's so exhausting.
Yes, this is exactly as advertised.
But I think,
again, that shock and awe shows how disconnected it really is.
Totally. And so it's like, it sounds so simple.
That's okay, but my favorite thing is, business growth, elegantly simple. It didn't say it was effortless.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're allowed to bring all of yourself to the table. I think that's a really important thing. And I think it's critical in the next 10 years because it's the gap and you have all the tools to win in it. So how do people find you? How do they connect to you? How do they learn more of this awesomeness and see you master it and model it for others that are learning to gain confidence in it?
As you can imagine, you can find me on LinkedIn. That is the best place. I do have my website as well. Of course, it's nearpointstrategies.com. And then I recently launched the Relationship Growth Method cohort community in the fall. So I've been growing that. And that's my next one kicks off. It's every other month. So it's ongoing.
Okay, guys, I want to make sure you go connect with her. And again, for 3 reasons. Number 1, model great behavior. Then execute great behavior on your own behalf and share with both of us how you're winning, because this conversation is about how we change the tide for ourselves and our businesses, but also how we change and serve the LinkedIn community as a whole, because it is a platform that, I think I'm one of the original OGs. I remember LinkedIn sending me a message, but it would have been maybe 6 years ago saying, you've been on the platform more than 20 years.
Yeah.
I have been around since the original time. And I do think it's the critical place to play. And so when we're in business, I say to people, if you want to connect to me on a platform, always start with LinkedIn, because I'm a serious business owner making relationships work on and offline. And that's where I choose to play. Come play with us there. Guys, this is Natasha. We are Amplify Your Marketing Message. It's been a pleasure to have you with us today. I want you to own your voice, make some more money on LinkedIn, and connect more human beings to author human beings. We'll make the world a better place. Thanks for being here, Natasha. I appreciate you coming on to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell-Rappin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit ChristineCampbellRappin.com/podcast to get a